Okay, in this next video, we're going to be typing the research paper text. Last video, we set up the paper in preparation. We set up the style so that way you don't have to keep changing the font and the spacing all the time. Now what we're going to do before we start typing is I just want to tell you some things that you should consider when writing the first draft of a research paper. So the first draft of a paper is when you first start writing the paper and you start putting your information in and you start putting in your formatting and stuff like that. This is not the draft you use to turn paper in. Generally, you go through some revising and proofreading before you are even ready to turn a paper in. One of the biggest mistakes you could ever make is turning in a first draft of a paper because remember, the paper to your professor or to your teacher, presenting your paper showing your work. And as humans, we are not inherently perfect. But through various rewrites and various proofreading, we can become closer to that. You want to make sure you put off the best impression possible. So when you're writing the first draft of a paper, you want to make sure it includes the proper components. You want to make sure it has an introductory paragraph. You want to make sure it has a thesis statement, body paragraphs, conclusions. You want to make sure you use credible sources. So, for example, you want to make sure that the information is up to date. Are the dates of the sources listed? What is the last date revised or updated? Did a reputable institution or group support the source? Is the information free of errors? Is it verifiable? Are the sources clearly identified? Okay, so you'll put all of that information, all of the information you've researched and your main points, you're going to put that in your body paragraph. Your introductory paragraph, you're going to just capture the reader's attention. You're going to kind of introduce your topic. In your introductory paragraph, you're also going to have something called your thesis statement, which is a one-sentence summarization of your paper, of what you're going to be talking about. And as you get into English, you'll know how to create those. Then you've got your conclusion, which summarizes your main points in the body and then restates the topic. And finally, you want to make sure that you acknowledge all sources of information. One of the biggest mistakes you could ever make as a writer is plagiarism. And plagiarism is something that you need to take very seriously because there are lots of real-world consequences behind it. So you want to make sure that when you're using your research, using your books, your magazines, newspapers, and the internet, and as you record those, make sure that you list details about the source, like title, author, place of publication, publisher, date of publication, etc. You're going to write them in a list, and you're going to include them into your works cited. And when you're taking those notes to put into your paper, make sure you don't plagiarize. So plagiarism is using someone else's work and claiming it to be your own. So say, for example, if you were looking up the topic on biometrics, someone might say, someone might come up with an article about biometrics and how biometrics can be used and what are the benefits. You have to basically, when you're using that, you have to cite them, meaning that you did not come up with those ideas. You clearly looked on the internet. You clearly read what they said. You can't just say, okay, I came up with that instead, and just write it in your paper. You have to give them credit. If you plagiarize, not only will you get in trouble in my class or in other classes in high school, you can get in trouble in life. And I cannot emphasize this enough. No matter how small the work is, whether it be plagiarizing someone's vocabulary sheet or plagiarizing someone's worksheet in Spanish or French or whatnot, whether it be copying work for this class, or it could be copying an entire paper you've spent weeks and months on. If you plagiarize, you will be in a lot of trouble. In the real world, if you're in college and you plagiarize, you could get kicked out of school. If you do it in the real world for a job, you could not only get fired, but you could also get sued because you stole that work. You stole that work. So you want to make sure that all of the things that you put in your paper are original And if you take something from someone else, you want to make sure that you credit them. So when you're summarizing, you can paraphrase, you can present facts, give statistics, quote exact words, show a map, chart, or graphics, but you have to acknowledge the source. So, after going all through that, you want to make sure that you know what plagiarism is. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and enter the name and course information. Okay, so what you're going to do right now is you're going to type in your name. So my name is Jason Felt. Nice to meet you. The instructor name is going to be whoever instructor that you're writing this for. So for many of you, it's going to be Mr. Felt. So I'm just going to put down Mr. Felt for myself too. So I am the teacher and the student. The course name will be Digital Information Technology. Okay, and the paper's due date. Let's see, we're going to start this video on September 13th, so it will be due on Monday, September 17th. So we're going to do September, it would help if I could type, September 17th, 2018. So that is what you're going to write up here. So instead of Jason Felt, you're going to put your name. Everything else should be the same. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn on our good old formatting marks, and we're going to press enter. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to enter the title of our research paper. So we're going to center it between the page margins. So if you look up here on your ruler, and if you don't have this ruler up here, you'll go to View, and then Ruler. Make sure it's checked. You'll see you've got some dark areas here, okay, and you've got a little gray area here. If it's a different theme, you might still see this, just it might be different colors. Right here, these are your margins, okay? So text won't go over here, okay? Those are extra space, okay? So we're going to center between the margins, so it's going to be around here. So when you press center, it'll go to the center of the margins. We're going to type in our title, which will be Safely Using Headphones and Earbuds. Now I'm going to change the zoom a little bit so that way you can see the text of my paper. Okay, after we enter in the title, we're going to press enter. Now, there are various keyboard shortcuts that we're going to be using, depending on the computers that you're using. Whether it be locked down or whatnot, you can do some of these. A couple of them that you should know are Control B. That's to bold. You should know how to italicize, just Control I. Control 2 is double space. Control L is a left-aligned paragraph. Control A is a select all. Those are shortcuts. So what that means is the shortcut keys in the keyboard that instead of clicking on a specific icon, that it'll do it for you by using the keyboard. So if you're able to use keyboard shortcuts, awesome. If you are one of those people that just likes to click up here, that's cool too. Okay, so I just showed you how to display the ruler. So go to View, Display Ruler by clicking the ruler icon. We've got our horizontal ruler here and our vertical ruler here. Okay, and you can see how things are going to be indented. So we're going to go and left align here. And what we're going to do is we are going to do a first line indent. So the first line indent is the indent for the first line of a paragraph. We're going to be using the ruler here, and we've got 3 pieces to this ruler. So this top one is our first line indent. Okay, then we've got our hanging indent, and then our left indent. Okay, so with your mouse up here where it says first line indent, we're going to hold down our left mouse button and we're going to drag it to 0.5 inches, meaning that this is the first line that we're going to be indented. Okay. So now you can see that the first line indents up here by 0.5 and everything else is over here. Now we're going to start entering in some text. So people often listen to sound from their computers or portable devices through headphones or earbuds. Okay, so notice when we changed the first line indent that you didn't have to press tab. It automatically did it. Okay, now we're going to type some more. Headphones cover or are placed outside of, and watch this, TEH space automatically changes to the. What that is, it's called autocorrect as you type. So what that does is it corrects these type of little errors that people don't normally make on purpose, so that way you don't have to worry about misspelling. And sometimes you can set up what to autocorrect, what not to autocorrect, and I'll show you how to do that here shortly. Outside of the ear, comma, whereas earbuds rest inside the ear canal. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to create an autocorrect entry. So we're going to go up to File, up to the ribbon, and then we're going to go down here to Options. And in our options, we're going to click the Proofing tab, and we're going to go to Autocorrect Options. And then we are going to go right here to where it says Replace. We're going to replace COMPTUER with computer. And this might already be in your computer. And if it isn't, it'll be brand new. So we're going to press Replace. And then if it already says Exists, press Yes. And press OK. So what we just did is, if I were to type in CUMTUER and press space, that's not the way to do that. Hold on one second. Sometimes we all make mistakes here. Proofing, autocorrect. CUMPTUER with computer. Okay. CUMPTUER with computer. There we go. So as you can see, when I typed it in wrong, it would automatically replace. Okay. So now we're going to enter in some more text. So we're going to type, with these listening devices, only the individual wearing the device hears the SULD, period. Using headphones or earbuds improperly can lead to permanent hearing loss. Items that may protect hearing include quality of these devices and volume levels. Okay, so we just did the first paragraph. So you might have already noticed this, but we specifically, this should be sound. But we're going to do it like this. SOULD, because what we're going to be doing later is using the spelling and grammar check. So don't fix that, just leave it how it is. Now we're going to press enter to make a new paragraph. So as you can see, because we did the first line indent, it automatically indented it for us. So that's something you might want to do on your projects. Alright, now we're going to type in the features of certain headphones and earbuds can help to prevent hearing loss. Higher quality headphones and earbuds tend to produce a clearer sound, enabling wearers to listen at a lower volume. Space. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put in some citations. Okay, so both the MLA and APA guidelines suggest the use of in-text parenthetical references that are placed at the end of each sentence. We're going to do that instead of footnoting each source of a material of the paper. So these parenthetical references, called citations in Word, guide the reader to the end of the paper for complete information of the source. So this is where in the paper you would show where you found the information that came from somewhere else. You're giving them credit. So the first step in inserting a citation is making sure that we're going to use the citations and sources and that they're formatted using the correct documentation style in Word. Okay, and we're going to be using MLA, so we want to make sure that everything is MLA 7th edition. So we're going to go up here to References, and we're going to change bibliography style. Okay, we're in Citations and Bibliography. We're going to make sure that we're at MLA 7th edition. So you can kind of see there's all these different versions. APA, Chicago, IEE, which is interesting. ISO, these are engineering and networking citation styles. MLA, 7th edition. Okay, so we're going to insert a citation here. So with that selected, we're going to insert a citation at the location of the insertion point. So we're going to go to where it says, we are going to go to Insert Citation. And now we're going to do Add New Source. So this is something you might want to incorporate in your future research papers in English or social studies or AP US government or whatever. Instead of having to do this manually, there's a Word function for that. Okay, so our source, we're going to have to enter in specific information. That way the person reading this document can see where you got the information from. So we are going to go to a source, an article, and a periodical. So you can see that different types of sources require different types of information, and they also are presented differently. So we're going to use, under author, we're going to type to, comma, Ming-Su Lin. And I might have butchered her name, unfortunately. Title, headphones and earbuds. Then press tab key because it'll move to the next field down. The title is going to be Technology and Trends Today. Tab, year is 2017. Tab, August. Okay, we're just going to use the shortened version of August there. And then we don't have a day, so we're going to go to Pages, NPAG period. Okay. What that means is the source has no page references. And the medium is web, meaning that where that periodical came from is from the internet. Okay, now we're going to click Show All Bibliography Fields. Okay, so these are for if you have extra fields, you want to make sure you put them in there correctly. All right, so we got to change the year here to date accessed. This is the date that you got the information. So 2017, month October, day 3. So almost 2 years ago, we accessed this information. Press OK. And what we did was we inserted our citation. So this citation refers back to a source that we put in there. So when you're doing your projects, you want to make sure you insert your sources. So all you have to do is press Insert Citation. See, we created a source. You're going to need a list of sources, so when you do your Works Cited page, you'll have them already in there. Okay, now we're going to go period to end the sentence, space. And now we're going to type this. Properly designed headphones should have a close fit for optimal listening, period. Similarly, earbuds should seal tightly in the ear canal of the person wearing the device. Headphones and earbuds also should include noise canceling technology. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and press save so we keep our information. So as discussed earlier in the module, notes are optional in MLA documentation style. It just depends on your teacher, it depends on what you need, what the teacher wants. If you use footnotes, the content notes elaborate on points discussed in the paper, providing a means for identifying multiple sources. The MLA documentation style specifies the superscript or a raised number be used for a note reference mark to signal that the note is just either the bottom of the page is a footnote or the end of the page is an endnote. In Word, note text can be any length and format. It'll automatically number notes sequentially by placing a note reference mark both in the body of the document and to the left of the note text. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert a footnote. So a footnote is going to be at the bottom of the page. So with the insertion point positioned right after the period in technology, okay, get rid of that extra space. Okay, we're going to go to where it says insert footnote. Okay, the footnote is at the bottom of the page. Okay, so the footnote text is going to be Gupta and Padro state that effective noise canceling technology reduces the interference of sounds from the surrounding environment, comma, reducing the volume level required by headphones and earbuds. Then we'll press the space bar. Now, you learned how to insert a citation in its source at once, but you can also insert a citation without entering the source information. The reason that being is you might not have the source information available at that point in time, and you might be finishing up a thought, and you're like, wait, I know it came from there somewhere, but I just can't remember what the source information is at the time. So that allows you to go back and edit the information if you need to. You want to make sure you go back, though, so you don't, plagiarize. So, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go to the insert citation, and we're just going to put in a placeholder, meaning we're going to go back to this at some point in time. So we're going to use the placeholder Gupta and then press OK. Now we're going to modify a style. So we're going to right-click the note text, and then we're going to go to Style, and then we're going to go to Modify. And now we're going to make sure we have size 12 font because it's MLA. And then we're going to make sure we double space, which is right here. And then we are going to press Format, Paragraph, Special, and then we're going to do first line. And press OK. And then apply. So now we've applied MLA format to our footnote. Now we're going to edit a source. So we're going to go back here and change this placeholder, okay, because now we've found the information for Gupta. We're going to click here and edit source. Now we're going to change the type of source from a book. And this book has 2 authors. So we are going to want to make sure we press edit here. And we're going to add some authors. So the last name is going to be Gupta. And then the first name is Elena. And the middle name is Maya. And we'll add. Then we got a second author, Pedro Adalbert, I think that's what it is, Adalbert, cool name, Lewis, add. So we have 2 authors here that we're using. And then we're going to press OK. So we got both of them in there. In the title box, we're going to type in hearing, protection methods, year is 2017. City is Orlando. Publisher is Palm Press. And the medium is print, meaning that this is a printed book. It was published in Orlando. The publisher is Palm Press. Okay, so you need to make sure that when you use a source, you want to look for this information so that way it can be presented as a credible source. Press OK. Okay. So we're going to go here to where it says Edit Citation. And what we're going to do is we're going to put down the pages we used. So 75 to 78. And then we're going to suppress the author and suppress the title. So when we press OK, 1 second, 7578, suppress author, and suppress title. Title, press OK. Okay, that's what happened. So, so what we just did was we edited the citation. Instead of showing off the author and the title, we suppressed that and just showed the pages. So that's because in the MLA documentation style, if a source has page numbers, you have to include those in the citation. It's just the way things are. Since we already have our names here, the names of the authors, we don't need to put them again in the citation. It's just redundant, meaning you know, we're doing the same thing. So what we did here was in the citation, we made sure we just cited the titles, and because we already had the author and the title here, we just need to do the page numbers. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to work with footnotes and endnotes. And the nice thing about this is you can edit footnote text just like you would any other text in the document. However, to delete or remove a note reference mark, you have to put the insertion point in the document text and not in the footnote text. Okay, so now we're just going to enter in some more text. So we're going to go after this 1, put your insertion point after the 1, and then press enter. And then again, we're down to the next line. The volume level of the sound that transmits from headphones or earbuds into the ear of a person wearing this type of device has been linked to hearing loss. The volume should be set low enough that other people nearby cannot hear the sound being transmitted. The quieter the sounds, the less possibility of hearing damage. Now, when you write papers, you're required to compose the papers with a minimum number of words usually. Some people will say a word count, or they might just say 1 to 2 pages. And if someone says 1 to 2 page paper, you want to make sure it's at least 1 page, completely 1 page, not like half a page, completely 1 page, and it really should go off to the second page. If someone says 1 page, then it should obviously be most of a page. If someone says 2 page, it needs to be 2 pages, 2 full pages. If someone says 2 to 3 pages, it should be 2 full pages and a little bit on the third page. So, or they might just say word count. And as far as word count goes, you want to make sure that you go a little bit above, because it depends on what they consider words. Some professors or teachers may not count your name in the number of words. They might not count your references in the number of words. They might not count your footnote in the number of words. So you want to make sure that you go a little bit over so you can be safe. So down here in the status bar, you're going to see we have a 232 word document. So that's about a page worth. So if you click on it, it'll give you some more statistics. So say we have 1 page, 232 words. We have 1,283 characters, meaning letters, numbers with no spaces, and then 1,500 with spaces. 9 paragraphs and 22 lines. And if we get rid of our footnotes and endnotes, you can see we've got 205 words. So it just really just depends on the professor, the teacher, whatever you need to do. Okay, so we close that. So as you type documents that exceed 1 page, Word's going to automatically insert page breaks called automatic page breaks. So whenever you've used enough space on 1 page, it's going to automatically move to the next. You might have seen that when you're making flyers, and then I told you make sure it's all 1 page, don't have it go on the next page. Well, this one is going to be more than 1 page. Okay, so we're going to press the space bar. We're going to type the third paragraph again. Further, listening at a higher volume for extended periods of time could be unsafe. One expert suggests people should listen at only 30% maximum. Then we're going to press the space bar, insert citation, and then we're going to go to add new placeholder, Chamberlain. Because again, it's a placeholder. We need to look up our source when we want to finish up our thought. Then we're going to enter, or I'm sorry, we're going to press period to end our sentence. Okay, so this is a pretty long video, but I want to make sure we get all the text in before we stop. Okay, so if you notice right here, we've got some white space. We can get rid of that, we can hide it by double clicking in between the pages here. So that way you can use as much of your screen as possible. All right, now we're going to edit this source here, Chamberlain. Now keep in mind, you might be looking and you'll see that you've got the footnote here. This is not part of the footnote. This is the second page. So you want to be careful here. All right, so we're going to edit here, we're going to be editing the source. Okay, changing the type of source to website. Okay, I want to make sure we show all bibliography fields. And our author is going to be Chamberlain, comma, Megan Lynn. The name of the web page is Understanding How Volume Levels Affect Hearing. And what the web page is the web page is the actual page of the website that you're looking at. So it might be in the title part of your web browser, maybe where the tabs are. That's the web page. The website is the actual website you visited. But I don't think we have an actual website, so that's good. Production company. That is Course Technology. Then we're going to go down to year accessed. And sometimes you might not be able to find some information. You're only going to put the information you can find. If you can't find any information, then that may not be a credible source. September 16th. And then we're going to go down here to medium, and then we're going to do web. Okay, so before we close off this video, we're looking at 37 minutes. We are going to press the enter key to come up with the last paragraph. More and more people are using headphones and earbuds with their computers and portable devices. So in this paragraph, what we're doing is we're restating the point and summarizing. Using high quality listening devices and lowering the volume can help to lessen potential hearing loss from the use of headphones and earbuds, period. Okay, so we've just entered the text of the actual document. On the next video, the next couple of videos, we're going to be inserting the works cited, editing sources, and then proofreading your paper. So we're going to go ahead and press save.